Good morning and welcome to the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge partnership on the Learn Live channel. The idea behind the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge is to put employers at the heart of inspiring, informing and communicating with the next generation of employees in the Cheshire and Warrington areas. There are opportunities for a variety of roles such as warehouse operatives, accountants and computer network architects, just to name a few. And these will be featured on the Learn Live channel with the sole purpose to help make you stand out to future employers on the field that you want to be in. So far we've heard from companies from across the Cheshire and Warrington areas, including Harper Adams University and Priestley College. But today we'll be hearing from Minerva Arts' Steph Maskell-Brocken. Steph will be giving us a closer insight into Minerva Arts and telling us about the possibilities that exist within the arts sector. She'll also be telling you all about how you can get into this sector as well. Now, if you have any questions, please make sure you ask them in the live chat facility next to the video player. You can see there we've already had a few questions in from students all across the region, so make sure you get your questions in as soon as possible. When you do, a member of the team will get back to you and answer your questions as soon as we can. Now, over to Steph.
Hi everyone, my name is Steph Maskell-Brocken and I'm the Artistic Director of Minerva Arts. Minerva Arts is an arts, education and development charity. We're based right here in Cheshire and we do lots of different work with various different communities all across the Cheshire area. And today I'm going to be speaking to you about work in the arts and cultural sector. It's a bit of an unusual sector. We work in a lot of different ways, so I'm hoping to try and demystify what some of those possible job roles might be and talk to you a little bit about the skills and the type of work that you might be expected to do if this is the sector that you end up working in. So first off, let's talk a little bit about what culture is. So we use quite a lot of different language when we're talking in the arts sector. We might say arts, we might say culture, and we might even use the phrase creative industries to describe that. But it's basically a big family of different areas of work and careers that all contribute to sharing something that is creative or cultural with a particular target group. So the kind of things that we might include within that banner of arts and culture are things that you might expect. So theatre, for example, or dance, or visual art. And when we talk about visual art, we're talking things like painting, sculpture, drawing, stuff like that. But how about more technological or digital stuff? Like, for example, games design. A lot of you might be really into video gaming. And gaming is an incredibly important part of our creative industries in this country. The games industry employs people like visual artists who are amazing at drawing and creating the characters and the environments, as well as employing all of those amazing technological people that can do the coding and all of the complicated back end stuff. How about something like marketing? So you might not necessarily always think that creating materials that are designed to sell products or services to people is a creative industry. But if you start to unpick that in your head a little bit, you think, well, there are visuals often connected with marketing and advertising, isn't there? Somebody needs to create them, whether they're drawn or illustrated or photographed. And the text that accompanies those visuals needs to be written by somebody that is creative and good with words. And how about also things like archaeology or archive collections? So we include heritage and history related areas within our banner of culture. And we actually also include things like libraries in there as well. So as you can see, there's a huge range of different opportunities that are available within arts and culture. Here's a little diagram here about the creative industries specifically. So these were first defined by our government back in 1997. And they sat down and realised that they had to start thinking about all of these different areas that are included within the creative industries. And there you can see it's things like advertising and marketing, museums, galleries and libraries, film, TV and radio, that's really important too. Gaming, heritage, music, performing and visual arts. You've also, importantly, got stuff like graphic and fashion design. You've got things like architecture in there as well, and IT, software and computer services. If you're an IT person, someone that's really into computing and things, you might not necessarily think that that's a creative thing that you're doing, but it is included within the creative industries. So, what's a cultural organisation? Well, Minerva Arts is a cultural organisation. And when we talk about cultural organisations, we're talking about companies or collectives or organisations that make culture happen for a target group. So that group could be a live group, like an audience that comes into a theatre, or an audience that comes into an arts centre, or people that come through a museum or gallery. Or that group could be a virtual or distanced audience, such as people that are watching a TV programme, or people that are playing on a video game, or the clients of an organisation that an advertising agency might be working for. Those audiences are slightly more distanced because they're people that might be reading a magazine or watching something else on the television and then consuming your content. So, what about Minerva Arts? Well, this is my organisation. Minerva Arts has been running for just over 10 years now, and I set it up with a friend of mine. We were both artists. We were living and working in Chester at the time, and we were struggling a little bit to find what our opportunities might be within the arts. And we knew that one of the main things that we wanted to do was to create work that was for and with children and young people. So Minerva Arts slots into a variety of different categories when we're talking about types of companies or industries. We're a charity, and that simply means that we're not a profit-making business. We don't have shareholders. Any money that comes into the company goes directly into paying for what we deliver, so paying the staff that deliver our workshops and making our services better. We have a group of trustees, and our trustees are volunteers that look after the organisation and keep an eye on making sure that we're doing the things that we said we were going to do when we first set up. And we're accountable to a body called the Charities Commission. And the Charities Commission is a national body that just keeps their eye on what charities are getting up to. We're also participatory. So participatory means that everything that we do involves people. So as you'll have seen from talking about what the different areas of arts and culture are, there are lots of different ways in which cultural organisations work with people and create artistic content that's designed for an audience. We as an organisation do everything with groups of young people, particularly. Sometimes it's with older people as well, but generally it's young people. So our artists create work with groups of children, young people and communities. That work is often performed for public audiences as well, but the core of what we do is about bringing normal people into an artistic process and involving them in that. We're an SME, and that stands for a small or medium enterprise, and that basically just means we're really small. Only a small group of people work for Minerva Arts. There's a little mistake on this slide here because I've used it for another presentation. But we have a small staff team of 6 of us, and they work throughout the year to deliver the regular work that we do. We then also have another group of artists that aren't with us all the time, but might come in and deliver a bit of work for us when we have a specific project. We are project-based. So we have a core programme, which is our youth theatre, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we also do lots of other projects that tend to happen in a bit more of an ad hoc way. That might happen because a partner comes and asks us to do something, so gives us a commission, a bit of money to run something that they specifically want us to do. Sometimes it's because we have applied for a bit of funding that allows us to do a particular bit of work. All of this means that our programme is really varied. It expands and contracts. So sometimes it might look like we're not doing very much, whereas sometimes we're super, super busy. And it means that we're able to work with a range of different people on different themes and different types of work. And finally, we are a youth theatre organisation. So, as I've just mentioned, the core of what we do, the stuff that we do all year round, is our youth theatre. And a youth theatre is simply a regular group that children and young people attend with a professional drama facilitator where they work on building drama skills and they create new shows that are performed for audiences. The big focus of what we do, though, is also about developing social and personal skills like teamwork, leadership, and communication. And we do that through supporting young people in a really safe and secure environment to be really, really creative, to devise new plays, to learn about things like improvisation and script work, but to do that with other people and to learn about how to engage and interact with others. So, what skills do you need for a successful career in the creative industries? Well, some of them are going to be subject specific, skills that you are going to get from practicing at that creative thing that you're good at. Might be design, it might be performance, it might be singing, it might be knowing about young people. A lot of this is all based around the kind of experience that you can generate for yourself. On the one hand, through the things that you do at school, but also by what you do outside of school. But a lot of these skills are also transferable skills as well. So it's about developing your communication, your teamwork, your organisation and time management, your leadership skills, your ability to take initiative and work independently, your creativity and your problem solving. And there's loads more that fit into this category as well. I'm sure you know all about transferable skills. And it's important to say that these skills are not only important to get you a foothold in the creative industries, but they're also all things that you develop through starting to participate now. It is never too late or early to start on a creative journey. There's things that you're doing in school. Yes, you're picking those subjects for GCSEs and A levels, the things that you love and want to take forward. But within the creative industries, it's also about stepping outside of that school structure and doing something on an extracurricular basis. So if it's drama that you're into, think about joining a youth theatre. If it's music, maybe join an orchestra or a band. If it's dance, think about what dance companies you might be able to join. Even things like taking part in young enterprise can be hugely important in the creative industries. And maybe think about taking on a work experience or volunteering placement with a creative organisation. So, finally, before I set you a little bit of a challenge, I'm just going to introduce you to what some of the possible roles and careers are within the creative industries. So, the kind of obvious ones that you might first think of are your creatives. These are the people that are on the stage or in front of the camera, or the people that are doing the work that immediately gets to that target audience. So you might be the actors, the singers, the dancers, you might be the architect, you might be the lead designer, you might be the composer. Then you've got your behind the scenes people, people who are really important to that creative process, but we don't get to see them an awful lot. Librarians, archivists, curators, lighting and sound, SFX people, stage management in a theatre, the coders that write all the back end of those games. But then we do kind of go even further behind the scenes as well, because it's really important to think about the fact that a cultural organisation can't survive on its creatives alone. It can't even just survive on its backstage people alone. It needs people that have other skills. And here we're talking about people like the marketing team, who, yes, are creative, but sit much further behind those scenes. Accountants, got to have somebody to do the books. Caretakers and cleaners. If you've got a building, people need to be able to take care of that building. Front of house, your people that sell your tickets and get people to buy your product. Fundraisers who raise the money to make your work happen. You've also got people like education workers who might be tasked with making sure that young people understand the work that you're doing. So while we're thinking about all of those different job roles, I'm going to set you a task. And I want you to have a think about this task between now and the next little video that I'm going to do for you. I want you to imagine that you work in a theatre. And I'm not going to tell you what your job is in that theatre, but I am your artistic director. I'm the person that sits at the top of the business and decides everything that is going to happen in that building. And we've just had a meeting today. And in that meeting, I've shared with you my ideas for the programme. And I've said, look, everybody, we are going to be staging a brand new production of Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream this year. That's what we're going to be doing. And I want every single one of you in all your departments to come up with a proposal for me of the sort of work that you think you need to do to make this show the best it can be. Now, that might be making it great on stage, the experience for the audience. But remember, we need people to come into the theatre and watch it. So what needs to happen for that to take place? We also maybe need to think about different audiences coming into the venue. So how might we be able to expand what we can do? So I want you to think about a couple of different jobs that maybe happen in a theatre within each of those three different categories. So your creatives, your behind the scenes, and your further behind the scenes. Make a bit of a list of what some of those jobs might be in a theatre and pick one of those jobs and think about what they would have to do in order to make that new production of Midsummer Night's Dream happen. If you've got time, you might pick one job from each of the three categories. And in the next session, we'll go through a couple of examples and think about what those particular tasks within those job roles might be. Okay, thanks very much, and I will see you next time.
Thank you, Steph, for joining us today on the Learn Live channel and for giving us that fantastic challenge. What will you come up with, and who do you think would be involved in the next Midsummer Night's Dream production, both on and off the stage? Looking forward to seeing your responses to that one. We have more pledges coming up soon. On Thursday, we have Rachel from Voltex as she talks us through the recruitment process and what makes you stand out from the other CVs. Please remember, you can still leave a question on the live chat facility next to the video player, and a member of the team will get back to you as soon as possible. The live chat is always live and safe to use and informative for anyone that leaves a question. And of course, it is fully moderated by our team. So we'll see you again on the 11th of June, where we'll meet Rachel from Voltex. See you then, and stay safe.
So the Pledge is a sort of organisation that tries to connect young people with businesses. So we work with schools and colleges and different organisations, so different charities and everything as well, to get young people engaged with us and into the workplace.
We got involved with the Pledge probably 3 or 4 years ago now. We went along to one of the first meetings and it was actually really exciting. There were a lot of people there from local schools and local businesses. So from our perspective as an employer, it was great to sort of connect with local Macclesfield businesses, really.
The Pledge has been able to give me more confidence in myself. I think I've really been able to get on well with my employer because I've seen other employers being engaged through the pledge.
I think it was in year 11, Jeva came in, did an assembly about the pledge there. And that's when I first kind of properly, I'd heard bits about it, but that's when I first properly got an idea of what it was, and it was like that connection between schools and the workplace and demonstrating you can do more than uni and all that kind of thing.
I think it's important just to let us know the opportunities that are out there, because it's really hard to kind of find everything, because UCAS has a website for universities and employers don't really have one website, so Pledge can kind of be that bridging the gap.
They've put us in contact with countless local schools and charities and organisations. They approach us constantly to get involved in careers workshops and events that they've set up. They allow for meaningful contact.
Employing young people really helps us in terms of the energy that they bring, fresh ideas and being very committed to the organisation, and also they've got that enthusiasm for training and development, which will really help us further down the line.
But it's what you need to do. If you need young people and new talent, you've got to go out and get it, because the students and the children are struggling to come to you. So you've got to show them that you're approachable and that you can do something that sort of means something to them.